The protest to save Mumbai's green lung Aarey was held by Congress workers today as the metro car shed row has reignited. People held placards of Save Aarey Forest and raised slogans against the government. Remember, the Shinde-led government overturned MVA government's decision to move the car shed project from Aarey to Kanjurmarg and move the project back to Aarey, a move that is being strongly opposed by activists and opposition alike.
अभी ये पेड़ काट रहे, हम लोग किधर जाएंगे? हम लोग का बचपन इधर गए। इतना बड़ा बड़ा पेड़ हम लोग के सामने काट रहे हैं लोग। हम लोग ने इसके ऊपर पले पड़े हम लोग को शेर कुछ है, वो सब हमारा है। हम लोग को नहीं चाहिए कार भी, कुछ नहीं चाहिए, ये मेट्रो भी नहीं चाहिए। हम लोग पेड़ से जाएंगे जंगल में, हम लोग का जंगल है, हम लोग को चाहिए ये।
This is drawing us to the back date in 2018 where several protests like this were held. Hug a Tree movement was there, Ped Bachao Andolan was there, Save Aarey protests were taking place ever since this was announced that the metro car shed would be built in Aarey Colony, and this has really not gone well with the common people as well as with the green activists. But yes, the political stir has been taking place in fact, and now we are seeing it's not just political but again a civic issue what people have been facing. And today in the morning, Congress in huge numbers, their workers as well as the activists were hitting on the streets again the protest against the metro car shed which is going to be built in Aarey. Along with this, they also did an important announcement that every Sunday in fact all the Mumbaikas would be assembling in the Aarey Colony to strong their voices against the metro car shed proposal which is going to be built in the Aarey Colony, which is known to be the green lungs of Mumbai.
Mr. Stalin Dayanand, founder of Vanashakti, joins us on the program. Good evening, Mr. Dayanand. I'm going to begin by asking you the arguments made by Mr. Devendra Fadnavis primarily when he first decided to have the car shed in Aarey. His argument even now is that 25% of the work is done. This project should continue. Further delays would lead to cost escalation. And even after moving to Kanjurmarg, nothing moved. Let's be frank about that, because again, that was stuck on, in litigation. The central government had not given the clearance. So this project basically was shelved. Now this government believes that it should be back, this car shed should be back in Aarey. What is your...
First thing, I'm not the founder of Vanashakti. I'm the director of Vanashakti.
Okay, apologies for that.
No issues. Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. Now, Kanjurmarg is inseparably linked to Aarey. People need to understand this, and those who don't know it. In 2015, Mr. Fadnavis' own government came to the Honorable High Court and submitted an affidavit saying that we want to go to Kanjurmarg and the lines can be merged and we can take it there and it is the best spot. Now, in 2018, the ownership of the land was decided and finalized by Mr. Fadnavis' government. His own revenue minister, after 4 hearings, said and declared and ordered that the land in Kanjurmarg is belonging to the Maharashtra government. No, the Union of India did not challenge it, and everything was hunky-dory. In 2019, December, the Union of India suddenly got up when the metro car shed from Aarey was being relocated there. But before that, Metro 6, the car shed was allotted in Kanjurmarg. So Metro 6, the Kanjurmarg always had a metro shed and Metro 3 was supposed to join it. Suddenly this litigation was created and suddenly Mr. Fadnavis started singing new songs like 5,000 crores, 10,000 crores. Everything for him is in 4 and 5 figures. He doesn't talk in 3-figure amounts. Now, Mr. Fadnavis needs to explain why. Let us assume for a second that the ownership in Kanjurmarg lies with the union government. As a responsible leader of the state or a political figure, as the ex-CM, did he write a single letter to the union government saying that I am from BJP, you are from BJP, let's help the state or help the city and give this land to...
But why would he do that, Mr. Dayanand? He believed that this is a more cost-effective option. There is massive congestion in the city. Mr. Devendra Fadnavis believed that this is the best place for the project. Why would he even argue? And if I'm not mistaken, the court had cleared it in favor of Mr. Devendra Fadnavis, isn't it?
See, So that's what I said. In 2015, Mr. Fadnavis himself said it should go to Kanjurmarg. Then he comes back in 2019 and creates a litigation. Now, why he does it? Because the land in Kanjurmarg was sold by an encroacher, a person who didn't have any right on it. It was sold and that sale was declared illegal by the court. And yet, Mr. Fadnavis's government engaged in construction plans with this government, with this person. The point is there is about 90 acres of land in Kanjurmarg, which is supposed to go to a big real estate developer, for which this entire sham is going on. Now, let us go to Aarey, back to Aarey.
Yes.
Now, in Aarey, if you look at the MMRCL statement or even Mr. Fadnavis's statement, they have always maintained that they need only 30 hectares, in which 25 hectares is they are going to use and 5 hectares will be protected. Now, if you want only 25 hectares, why on earth have you given 65 hectares to MMRCL? That is the question. Why? When you want only 25 hectares, why have you taken away 65 hectares? So obviously those, and it is on record, that later on we will commercially develop these areas and then we will make money from it. I mean, the government will make money from it or whatever. There is a land scam which is going on here. This land is being given to real estate developers. The metro shed is only...
That is one part of the argument. But what exactly is your argument against having the car shed in Aarey? What kind
the
of...
car shed cannot... See, our simple point is, when there is a barren land available, when the line benefits by going somewhere else, there is a committee which was appointed by the MVA government. They have brought out a 500-page report. It says that if you take this car shed to Kanjurmarg, this city will we stand to make a gain of 1,800 crores, not a rupee spent. Forget the financial loss. Aarey happens to be a forest. There are more than 2,800 trees, which are not 2,800, 3,800.
But Mr. Dayanand, many would argue that we cannot have any more delays in the metro. Look at how common people are suffering. And if it is about the trees, there are many people who believe that they can be replanted. It is not something that is beyond repair. The green cover can be... I'm just arguing, I'm just being a devil's advocate here to say that there are those who argue the cost-benefit analysis must be done very precisely. The fact is that trees can be replanted, but the urgency to have a metro line functioning in this city is immense, isn't it? That is something we also have to understand. Very quickly, last word, please.
First things first, that the trees can be transplanted. This is a completely wrong notion. We will show you how 80% of the trees which were transplanted have died. It's not only about the trees. This land happens to be next to the Mithi River. There is wildlife, documented wildlife on this place. Why on earth would you want to displace wildlife? Now, if the urgency is for the metro lines to be completed, isn't Metro 6 important? Where is the car shed? The same car shed was going to be used for Metro 3 also. So when you're delaying one line, that is okay. And when you're holding up another line, even that's okay. Now, that cannot be the case. Now, what I'm telling you is based on the technical report, the drawings to merge the lines. All that was needed was a 500-meter ramp from Aarey to JVLR to connect the lines. And sadly, I must say this, that the MVA government failed miserably to make that connection possible. It was only
so you're saying both the governments failed. Now, do you think that this has basically become a prestige issue between Mr. Fadnavis and Mr. Thackeray? That who gets the upper hand in this? None of them are really concerned about what benefits people. Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't think so. Mr. Uddhav Thackeray has no malafide intentions in his approach. Now, whose ego is it? Someone who wants to conserve or someone who wants to sell out? When you sell out, when you promise a builder something and you can't hold up that promise, then your ego is hurt. It is not when you want to save trees. If the trees are cut, Mr. Uddhav Thackeray is not going to lose anything. This city will lose something. The nature will be damaged, and that's not something. So the pressure of the builders on this government to give these lands for real estate is causing all this mess. Again, I'm telling you, this is not an allegation or a submission from our side. This is what comes out in the report.
But it is an allegation. It is an allegation at this stage, that argument. But here we should focus on the primary argument of the cost-benefit analysis, infrastructure development versus conservation versus environment. Where is the damage larger? Let's stick to the primary arguments here. In this case, I do understand that there would be arguments on both sides, and it must be very carefully studied and then a decision taken. These are decisions that's going to impact lakhs of people, lakhs of Mumbaikars. Mr. Stalin Dayanand, I appreciate your joining us on the program to give us your points of view. Well, with that, let's take a short break here. All right, before we go into the break, there's more updates coming in on how there's another big blow to Uddhav Thackeray's Shiv Sena as the revolt against him seems to have spread further. In the latest development, 66 Thane corporators have